What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Pet Shop Boys, and we're back with another B-side from the period of their 1996 album Bilingual. Thank you as always to Seb. And this one is a B-side to the Red Letter Day single, and it's The Boy Who Couldn't Keep His Clothes On. Something about the phrasing of the title, I was like, wait, have I reacted to this before? But I looked in YouTube Studio, and I don't think I have, so yeah, I don't know, maybe it just is reminding me of another title that I'm somehow associating with Pet Shop Boys, but nevertheless, it's an amusing phrase. My best guess, or at least my thought going into this, is that it could relate to someone who has a lot of intimate relationships, and thus, in a sort of, comedic, poetic way, it's someone who can't keep his clothes on because he's always jumping into bed with people. And the phrasing of the title, if it is something like that, I feel like there's an inherent critique, or at least like that's going to lead to this, or that will cause problems, or, that will make people upset or jealous, what have you. So yes, I do wonder if it's something like that. Of course, even if it is heading in that direction, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some complexity or wit to it that I can't read in the title phrase, and of course it might have nothing to do with any of that. So let's give a listen. This is Pet Shop Boys. The track is The Boy Who Couldn't Keep His Clothes On, and it's the B-side from Red Letter Day, one of the singles from the album Bilingual. a lot to say. That's a very well composed and engaging song, and I enjoy the like a bit Latin, a bit tribal house style sonics, and I enjoy the way in the opening minute or two, it sort of comes in, it's already got the driving beat, but then it brings in one element, then it brings in another element, and it feels very like club track, and even almost like 12-inch mix of club track in the way that it sort of builds up to the full sonic arrangement, as well as, at the end, I mean, I guess there is a fade out ending, but then there's that stripped down section where we get that spoken female vocal, more on that in a moment. But yes, I very much enjoy the flavor of the dance floor, and again, like Latin house, tribal house sort of synthesis in this one. And Neil's vocals are, sort of smooth and melodic as they often are, but the real star here are the lyrics. Okay, so, I was thinking actually that, another context in which people might take off their clothes is when it's hot on a dance floor. And, I did go to a few rave parties back in the day. I remember one in particular. It was somewhere in LA, and I think it was actually at a venue that was used for clubs, though this was like a, all night, like, harder, like, trance and techno party. But it was crazy hot to the point where, like, every guy there, like, had their shirt off, and, people were, like, I think they ran out of water at some point because everyone was buying water. It was crazy. Like, I've been to like warehouse parties where it's like warm, but this was like another level, and I do think there was, a reference to that in the spoken word part here. But okay, so it sounds like it's a guy who, as the song says, is far away from home. He's exactly where he wants to be, which is on the dance floor. He loves dancing all night long. And when he does so, he removes his clothes and he's kind of like in his element. But then we also hear, like, number one, he's far away from home, which, like, when you're home, when you're around where you grew up, people family and so on, like, you have to behave somewhat more normal, and that can be restrictive if what normal is where you come from, or the, the family you're in and so on, is, sort of straight and narrow, and you gotta, conform to what other people do in the area. But if you're far away and, no one really knows who you are, you could maybe be yourself more if that is far away from the conformity that you come from. And so the idea that you can let loose and kind of, be a bit more wild and, cathartic in a way that is beyond just having fun and, feeling the music and so on, it seems like that's part of it. He's, again, whether it's like in Ibiza or, wherever, he's somewhere where he doesn't have to be what he used to be, and he can be, or what he used to pretend to be, and what he really wants to be. And indeed, there was a line about, like, getting away from the secret of his past. So then we get the spoken word part where this lady, presumably his girlfriend, who maybe knows there's more going on than she's been told, is like, oh no, you're not taking off all your clothes for all these men here. And you know what, like, when you finish here, don't bother coming home, and I'm going to throw all your clothes, out the window. It's over. And she seemed, and oh, and by the way, it's really hot in here. So yeah, that was an amusing line. But it sounds like a girlfriend who's figuring out that maybe her guy is into men, and maybe she already kind of knew that, but she's getting confirmation of that, and, seeing him kind of in his element, and everyone else is kind of watching and like, damn, like, there go the pants, that, like, how much farther is he going to go? Is he going to go full Monty, if you will? Because, everyone's kind of looking, and, he probably is a good-looking man, so, there's, like, this, like, everyone's watching the show, as I think the line says, so, yeah, there's a lot going on, and that spoken word part, number one, was very comedic, and number two, seemed to reveal more of the story than was already apparent. And again, it sounds like she's the one who's sort of, bitter about this, but also, at least is like, okay, that's what's happening here. I thought that's what's happening, and now I know for sure, and, well, it's over between us now because, I'm not going to tolerate this. So, yeah, a lot going on. Maybe I'm missing some detail, or maybe I'm misinterpreting some of what I heard, but yeah, that seemed to be the essence of it. And again, just a fun, danceable tune with good vocals and overall sonics. So, in some ways, very par for the course. Clever lyrics, good sonics, danceable tune, and a very enjoyable overall experience. So, from Luca and I. Let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.